I'm not gonna do a pre-recorded intro today.
Right.
Just gonna fucking play like an old school creepy thing
Cool.
and get on with it.
Zombies.
Zombies.
I seen it once before in a rat, and I seen it now in men. Once one gets a taste for its own kind, it can spread through the pack like a wildfire, mindlessly chomping and biting at their own hinds. Nothing but the taste of flesh on their minds. You know the thing about a rat? It's got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eye. Don't seem to be living at all when it come at you, till it bites you. And then the eyes roll over white, and you don't hear nothing but the screaming and the hollering.
No power in the verse can stop me.
What's going on, guys? My name is Aldeniro, and welcome to episode 87, I think, of the Midnight Hour. I always say I think at the start because I never fucking know offhand. Like, what episode are you on? I don't know. Could be 112. Joined today by Jack.
Hi.
Who is
Back again.
back from his mysterious vanishing.
Yeah, I
That's me.
vanished for a long time and then came back and then vanished again for a week.
Yeah.
Various
The
reasons.
universe decided to hit Jack over the head with a steel chair.
Yeah,
again.
yet again, just as he thought I was getting up, I was beat
Yeah.
back down.
Yeah. So,
But not for long this time.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was only a 2-week hiatus this time. So today we're back in original form to discuss. What's that? Isn't that a song? Back in original form.
Possibly.
Back in original form. The legible, credible, inevitable storm. Yep,
Boom.
It's Kid Rock. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to talk about terrifying mysteries, because we've already done unexplained mysteries. We've already done creepy mysteries. Now it's time to do terrifying mysteries. And these ones are pretty fucking terrifying, especially all of them. So watch out for that, and also keep watching the skies. And if you're watching this at night in the dark, good. I don't want to hear any comments about how I'm too afraid to listen to this. Fucking deal with it. So yeah, that's all I have to. Do you have anything to say? I guess check out the subreddit.
Yeah.
It's reddit.com/r/midnightour.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
Anything else? Anything scary happened to you recently?
No. I live a very unscary life, to be honest. Mine's very. I live a very PG existence. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
You should live a PC existence. I don't know why I said that.
I think I'd rather not, to be honest.
Did I mean computer? Did I mean political correctness? Who knows? I actually 2 weeks ago I had a migraine in work, and it was actually pretty scary because I forgot where I lived and stuff like that. I didn't know where I was, and it's just really weird to me that in the space of 30 minutes you can go from being a perfectly normal, from being me and having a, active mind to just not knowing where you live. And it's true,
Yeah.
no fault, no substance that you've ingested, nothing like that. It's just your brain going, ha, fuck you.
Fuck you, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck this, fuck
So-
that. Yeah.
That's a good way to set the scene to what the human body can do to you when you're not looking.
It is indeed.
So, with that, do you want to do the first mystery or shall I?
I've actually got something that segues into that so neatly, into what you just said
Perfect.
so neatly. So the last time we did an unsolved mysteries or weird mysteries and stuff like that, I was fascinated, and I think you were as well, by the case of a guy called Benjamin Kyle.
Oh, yes! The guy who
Woke up
he
behind
just-
a dumpster in America behind like a Burger King and had
Yeah.
no idea who he was and no identification, nothing. Nobody knew who he was. Absolutely nothing.
It turns out he had a 27-year-long migraine.
Yeah. And his name was El De Niro.
Yeah.
Since we made that podcast, it has actually been discovered who he is.
Whoa, and we didn't get any credit for that?
Absolutely none, you'd be surprised.
Fucking
So
hell.
one of the things that this dude had an inkling about, or was thought he knew about his previous life, was that he shared a birthday with Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, you even said that in the episode.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it turns out he was right, and his real name was William Burgess Powell. And this is written. No, there's an article that we'll probably leave in the comments, but it was written about 5 months ago, 5 or 6 months ago, and it's just unreal. It was, yeah, like you've kind of got to read it because it's quite a long read.
Yeah.
It talks about he's got a brother and stuff. But yeah, his identity has been found, and it's absolutely bizarre.
Is there any like indication as to what led to his inability to remember it, like some kind of brain trauma or like illness or something like that?
I haven't read all of it. I've read the first little bit, and then
sentence.
I can see the length of the scroll bar on the side of my thing.
Yeah.
Like it is bloody long. But yeah, I just know his name, and I'm interested to read the rest of it.
It's weird that you left the pod. He found out who he was.
Yeah, that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing, finding out who he was.
Yeah. That's remarkable.
This whole time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a read of that as well, because that's always one that I point to in that's one of the most ultimate what the fuck moments.
Yeah, it's just nice. It was the most bizarre thing at the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's bizarre that, well, I'm surprised that it took as long as it did to find out who he was.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the article reveals absolutely everything.
Yeah, it is a big... It was a Burger King, though. That's where he was found.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. I'm going to try and skim this really quickly.
Good luck with that one.
Holy shit, this is the longest article I have ever seen in my life. Nothing can be skimmed from this, although if I go to his Wikipedia page, maybe something will summarize it for me. Kyle announced on his Facebook page that his identity had been established by a team of adoption search angels led by C.C. Moore. Is that how you pronounce the name? That's C-E-C-E? C-C?
C.C.? Yeah, that's how I'd pronounce it.
The Orlando Sentinel reported on September 22nd that Kyle received his Florida identification card with the help of iDignity, an Orlando-based organization that helps homeless and others obtain identification documents. iDignity also assisted in establishing Kyle's identification. So, yeah, his true identity is William Burgess Powell, like you said, and there's actually nothing there about what led to his situation. So, yeah, I don't know. That's fucked up, yo.
It's
and
just bizarre.
We'll leave the article in cyberspace, and you can check it out and give it a read. So, just I guess like a quick sort of reaction to that whole thing. I'm glad that he found out who he was and everything, but I also think it's really fucked up that he could just go missing and forget who he was, but also that no one would claim him.
Yeah,
or...
no one stepped forward and was kind of like, yeah, I recognise that man. Because as far as I'm aware, at the time it was like big news in America, because it was. Some people have theorised because he's he was an elderly white male, but either way, dudes had no idea who he was and no form of identification whatsoever.
Yeah.
And no one at least it was citywide where he was found, and nobody stepped forward.
When I think about it, though, I have relatives that I don't know where, like, they could be disappeared and, asleep behind a Burger King dumpster. I wouldn't know or care. So I'm not going to be claiming those people. So
that's true.
Yeah, I don't know if
think of the memes and the fame.
That's true. I mean, that's all I do. Anything. That's the only thing that fucking gets me out of bed nowadays.
Is the thing that powers me through the day. Is the memes.
Oh yeah, God, it's the only thing that gives me the strength to just pull my lifeless carcass out of bed every morning. Is the memes.
That's a fact.
What if I told you that there was life beyond memes? You'd tell me to get the fuck out of here. It's not true.
I'd tell you that I wouldn't know, and that's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries as to whether there actually is.
Yeah, that's true. That's gonna, in like 50 years, they'll be like speculating as to what life was like before the internet. Like, no, there was no life.
What was life before meme?
Yeah, nothing. There was nothing there.
And there'll be a TV show called The Big Meme Theory.
And it will be terrible and not funny. I would actually like to do a future episode where we discuss like sort of memes and their significance, because like you can boil every single political argument down to a series of memes now, and that's what's happening. Like with every single thing, right versus left, is meme. That's just
everything. You can't not get caught up in the memes.
Yeah, it's true.
It's impossible.
Will I go with the next mystery?
Feel free, take us away.
Alright, so this is called the Flannan Isles Lighthouse, and if you check out, I would actually encourage everybody to check out the Wikipedia page for this, because it's fantastically written. Like, it's just, it really flows so well. It's not really written like a Wikipedia article, it's written like a news article, and I've never really seen something like that on Wikipedia before. So I've gotten all of this information from Wikipedia because it was such an easy read. Also, everything is sourced in there, so you can check the sources at the bottom. And I'm not going to get into the theories which were listed on Wikipedia, because there's no point. I think I'd rather that myself and Jack theorize what might have happened. So the Flannan Isles Lighthouse is on a, like, the Flannan Isles are off the coast of Scotland, and the lighthouse itself is not one that even overlooks the sea. No, it overlooks the sea, and it's sort of on the very top of a mountain. And sure, I'll just keep talking, and we'll come back to what the lighthouse is like. By the way, it starts with the most ominous Wikipedia sentence I've ever seen in the mystery section. It says, "Other than for its relative isolation, the lighthouse would be relatively unremarkable were it not for the events that took place just a year after it was commissioned." It's like,
that is the most dramatic lead into a Wikipedia,
isn't it? It's crazy.
I've ever seen.
They're saying shit went down. So
yeah.
A ship ran aground in really poor weather conditions as a result of this lighthouse not being operational. The ship's master didn't actually report this for quite a while, because he had to pull out all the stops and put all of his efforts into saving the ship. Basically, like when a ship runs it, you know what happens when you're at a race against time. You need to breach everything, and you need to tape up all the stuff, and so it's a really tough operation, especially in the year 1900, which is what I should have said at the very start. This took place in the year 1900. Now, the lighthouse itself was manned by Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur. It's D-U-C-A-T. I assume it's Ducat and not Ducat. So, when the crew of a routine relief vessel arrived on the shores of the isle, they noticed that the flagstaff was bare of its flag, and none of the three guys were there to greet them from the lighthouse. I nearly said White House. On top of that, the provision boxes were not left at the landing stage for the vessel to be restocked. So basically that implies that they were not all out of rations and supplies, because this lighthouse is obviously on an island and it's isolated. It's not like a place where you can just go to the shop when you need stuff. If you are working on a lighthouse, you're in it for the long haul. Like, that is pretty much your life. There's 3 people living in it, and basically I think they work in shifts, but like they're going to have various conversations and stuff like that, but ultimately they're keeping a log of everything that happens. They have to make sure that everything is in place to stop ships from crashing into the island, basically. So they need to make sure that the lamps are clean and all of that kind of stuff. So because of that, they live in the White House, in the quarters, and they have food and drink and stuff, and then they send those boxes back out to the landing stage, and a relief vessel comes when the weather is clear enough, and they restock it. The crew of the relief vessel sent out a distress flare because there was nobody around to greet them, so there was no reply. When they inspected the lighthouse, it transpired that the entrance gates were closed, the beds were unmade, and the clocks were all stopped. The lamps in the actual lighthouse were refilled, but there was an overturned chair by the kitchen table. I don't think that's particularly ominous, though.
No. So it could be like, the classic signs of a struggle. You never know.
Yeah. But like the beds being unmade as well. Like, I don't know. Maybe it does mean that they sort of like hightailed it out of there. But what happened was the men were never seen again, and there's no clue as to what happened. So this was in the year 1900, and there are numerous theories and stuff. The captain of the relief vessel, he speculated that they drowned. But if you look at the actual lighthouse and a picture of it, it's not really possible to drown. You would have to fall off a cliff to drown. And what are the odds of 3 guys all falling off a cliff? Like, these are guys who would have worked in shifts, right? So you're going to have, at all times, there's probably going to be at least one person sleeping. And all of the beds were unmade. Like, it's really strange. But again, like, I'd encourage everyone to just look at the location, because you're not going to get swept away by a wave. Like that is possible in some lighthouses, but this is not one of those lighthouses. It's off the coast of Scotland, so sure, you're going to get rough weather. But I mean, this is weather that, like, we in Ireland and Britain are like perfectly capable of withstanding. Like you're not going to get blown off many cliffs in Scotland. Like, it can happen, but to 3 people,
I mean, it does say that there was quite considerable damage to the pier on the opposite side of the shore, or the landing on the opposite side of the shore to where the relief crew landed.
Yeah, but I believe the logs state that damage took place long before they had actually abandoned the...
But I have been in winds that are strong enough to almost knock me off my feet in central London.
Yeah.
I would not put it past being on an island in Scotland in the 1900s just for like literally, because people would have been naturally smaller back then, and I'm like 6'2" and I weigh about 88 kilos.
Yeah.
I'm not a small person. I've nearly been knocked off my feet by the wind. I would not be surprised if they literally got blown away. That's
actually a really astute observation. Did you know that the Titanic was built in, like, what, 1912, I think?
Yeah.
When James Cameron was given the budget for the Titanic, they had to build an exact replica of, like, the inside of the Titanic, and they had to make everything a foot taller than the to scale size, because humans are taller now than they were back then.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely...
Like, I genuinely would not be surprised if the wind was just that strong to have lifted one or more of them off their feet.
So, like, that's definitely plausible, but... Okay, let's say that it's a possibility. Surely these guys would know that it's a possibility? And also, what were they all doing out at the exact same time to be blown off there?
Literally, the only thing that I can think of is that humans are famously not the smartest. They do have their idiot moments, but I don't. It shouldn't have happened, probably.
Yeah.
But it did, and obviously we all know that the ocean is an unforgiving mistress. So as soon as they go in there's no there will be no finding them.
I think that...
So
you're talking the 1900s, so that's back when dragons were still around, right? Like probably the last dragon died out maybe in 1910 or something. But probably a dragon came out of the ocean. You know those...
And literally just plucked them out of,
Yeah, or some kind of giant bird. Like, if you ever look at a turkey vulture and imagine what those would have looked like 150 years ago, like, that's... I don't know. I'm definitely leaning towards some kind of fantasy animal. Giant in its size that eats humans.
Naturally. Yeah. Possibly now residing in a loch in Scotland.
Ooh, possible, yeah. Yeah, definitely. But, I mean, yeah, sure, like, humans are stupid and stuff, but it's just, like, there should always be one person guarding the lighthouse, no matter what, or manning the lighthouse, not guarding it, but...
Guarding it? What are you suggesting?
Exactly. I don't know, it's very strange and, like, creepy. It is creepy. Anything involving nighttime high winds and the ocean is creepy. The ocean, when the moon beams off the ocean and it's that like complete white chalk on black paper effect, it's creepy as fuck. Like it just looks dark and dreary. And when I imagine like this lighthouse in the nighttime and the beds being unmade, it's just, I don't know. It emanates a sense of dread and like a unsettling feeling. So, yeah, I want answers. God damn it! I used to think when I was younger that when you die and go to heaven, God tells you all the stuff you want to know about everything. Like, you know, like where did your money go that time when you put it down and then you didn't find it again, and like what really went on in the Tunguska effect, and like what, like all that kind of stuff. But then I got older and I realized that there is no heaven. So
everything's okay in the end. Oh no, wait, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I do wonder though. Sticking with the topic very well, if there's a heaven, right? Like, how is that any fucking different to normal life? It's still eternity of existing. Like, that's gotta get boring eventually.
Yeah, but you don't have to work. You don't have to worry about bills. There's none of the people that you dislike there, because if I'm going to believe in a type of heaven, I'm going to believe in like not a heaven for everyone. It's everyone has their own personal heaven or their own personal version of heaven. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think a good topic would be, what's the ideal kind of heaven? Like sort of. Yeah, I think that'd be a good topic. I'm gonna write that one down.
Silence and darkness.
Yeah. And the episode is just
Forever.
1 hour 12 minutes and 37 seconds of silence.
And darkness.
Yeah. There's not even a thumbnail in the background. It's just complete darkness.
Yeah. So this next unsolved mystery, or it's unsolved. It's scary. I feel like the two go hand in hand.
Yeah, we're kind of just treading on anything that borders creepy or unsettling.
Yeah. So this one is very ambitiously referred to as the creepiest case you have never heard of.
Yeah, that's very... Not only is it ambitious, but it's presumptuous. You don't know what the fuck I've heard of.
Yeah, they've really assumed my gender... No, wait. They've really assumed my knowledge there. That's the one. Shit, I fell back into meme there. So it's the story of Dorothy Jane Scott, who was a single mother in the 1980s. And she kept receiving mysterious phone calls at her job.
Oh, I love where this is going already.
Threatening to cut her into pieces, letting her know exactly where she was every minute of the day. She thought the voice sounded familiar, but she could never place it. So, this next line, this next sentence, I thoroughly enjoy because it has almost no bearing on the rest of the story. Alarmed, Dorothy took up karate. Okay, so I suppose it's that sentence sets the tone for the rest of like what happened.
Yeah, like she definitely uses her black belt to karate.
It's literally just alarmed. Dorothy took up karate.
Oh Jesus!
One night she went to her karate class and became alarmed at the appearance of a co-worker. Does that? Either way, her.
Did you just bang something?
Yes, I accidentally punched my microphone with enthusiasm about Dorothy and her karate.
It sounded so ominous. It sounded like the Grim Reaper was tolling a bell.
So Dorothy's gone to karate. She's worried about one of the other people in the karate class, so her and another person take this person to the ER to get checked out. Once this person's getting treated, she offers to go get the car and pull it around to the front of the hospital. And then as the two others were waiting for her in the hospital, they saw her race past them, high beams on, and she was never seen again.
What?
Yeah. But then it says, a few hours later, the car was found, no Dorothy. It was found burning in an alleyway. Right?
Yeah.
Then, a week afterwards, her parents started getting phone calls from a man claiming that he killed Dorothy. And the phone calls continued for 4 years.
Jesus Christ. Give it a rest.
Eventually, after 4 years, Dorothy's remains were found. And after the media reported that her remains had been found, there were 2 final calls received by her parents asking if Dorothy was home.
Fuck.
Nobody fucking knows who did it or what the fuck happened.
Jesus.
And that's just a wild story.
Yeah, that is a wild ride all around. I was gonna theorize that she had absconded with her karate instructor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that's the case now because she's dead. But I don't like the way 2 people whoever did it is like, you know, just
persistent.
Yeah, but it's those fucking obsessive people that, like, when a girl is like, look, man, I don't want you to buy me a drink, I don't want to ever go out with you, and the guy is like, oh, well, that means I need to try harder. There must be a formula or a combination of words I can use to get you to have sex with me. And this is just the psycho version of that, I think.
It's absolutely mental.
Yeah.
You would have thought that in the 1980s they could have sorted out the whole phone call thing. In some way they could have traced that call.
Pretty sure they could have, because the police trace Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci's phone calls in the movie Casino. And
Exactly.
That's not evidence enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's strange. I'd like to speak to the head, the chief of police, or the lead detective on the case, and just be like, "Yo, what's up with that?"
Yeah. Especially seeing as she had the phone calls for a while, and then her parents received the phone calls for 4 years, and nobody ever managed to figure it out.
Yeah, there are. It's not highly unusual in this genre of crime for there to be obsessive phone calls like that. Like, I'm sure I've read of other cases where people are bombarded and hounded by, like, non-stop phone calls, which is incredibly persistent, because in the 1980s, to phone a person, you have to hope they're at home, and you have to be in your home. It's like, I don't know. That's it's disturbing, like, without a doubt. Does it give a cause of death on that article, or does it just say her remains were found? And
her remains were. It just says remains were found.
Yeah, presumably like decomposed or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I feel like there might be more information available. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of vague.
I feel like this. I mean, this is just an article on the internet, so who knows if it's actually true.
That's the point.
But if it is, that's just fucked up.
I feel like there's more to the karate story. I don't think you can just drop that bombshell.
I feel like this has been summarized by someone, and that the longer story gives more context to the karate thing.
Yeah, I absolutely feel like that's the same. Are you on a listicle website, like Listverse or BuzzFeed or one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely more than is being said to the whole alarm. Dorothy took up karate.
I do. Do you follow Rob Delaney on Twitter?
No.
He's a comedian, but he's got this, like, really, like, he kind of tweets in a persona a lot of, like, different, like, kind of like bro types when they're older, or else, like, really wimpy guys and stuff like that. But he's got this, like, ongoing, like, long-term running joke that his wife is cheating on him with his karate instructor. And, like, it's genius, because the idea of a grown man going to karate lessons just implies that he's not manly in any way, and then the fact that his wife is cheating on him also just implies this complete, like, you know, like, it's actually a really nuanced character that he's put a lot of effort into, and I don't know, he tweets it like the most idiotic shit ever, but it's so funny because it just creates this scenario in your mind, and like every time I think of grown like adults doing karate, that's what I think of in my head, even though like I'd fucking love to be able to do all that, like I'd love to do karate, but you know, my shame and self-hatred forbids me from bettering myself in any way. But it's a funny image. So what's our verdict? What do we think happened? Do we think that she was killed?
I reckon family friend, if she recognised the voice but could never place it. Family friend or someone that she used to know, maybe from school.
Or actor on a TV soap opera, right?
Yes,
like a vague...
an actual murderer on a TV soap opera that turned out to be a proper real murderer.
Yes. Oh, I like that.
That would be quite... I was going to say that'd be quite good, but no, that'd be awful.
It's like, how far...
That'd be terrifying.
How far back does something have to be before you can just openly joke about it? Like, the 80s is far back enough, right? Like, neither of us were even alive.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, I mean, don't laugh at, you know, it's strange. There's a lot of things, like, the whole nature of dark humor in general, that, like, it's okay to do certain stuff, but not okay to do other stuff. Like, I find that quite interesting. I do, like, I would be more than happy to make lots of jokes about this dead woman for the rest of the show, but, like, at no point would I even consider making a joke out of, like, Hillsborough or 9/11 or something like that, you know? Like, it's sort of weird the way we choose things that we get to joke about.
It's all about time since the event.
Yeah, do you think, though? Because Hillsborough, maybe with Hillsborough, it's the fact that, like, every fucking week Liverpool has a minute silent or whatever. Like, there's always some ongoing investigation or... I
feel like it's still not over.
Yeah, there's been no closure whatsoever, yeah.
No.
Yeah, perhaps that's it. I think, though, Hillsborough is one that we do get a constant reminder of, and so, too, is 9/11, because it's basically, like, 9/11 was a tipping point for kind of the world that we live in. Like, changed a lot. But yeah, it's strange, like, there are some things that I'm happy to laugh at and some things I'm not. Like, when Frankie Boyle makes fun of Harvey Jordan's kid, Katie Price's kid, like, I just cannot laugh at jokes at the expense of a disabled kid. No matter how, like, disgusting I think Katie Price is, I just don't feel the need to take that out on her kid. And whenever I, like, say that to my friends who make jokes about the kid, they're always like, oh, get off your high horse or whatever. But it's like, it's not that I'm I'm not choosing to be, like, offended. I can't get it. Like, it's not, I don't know. Did you hear, by the way, when she said on live TV, she was like, yeah, they call my son a nigger and stuff. And did you hear about that?
No.
So she said that, right? And the outrage is about the fact that she said that word, not about the fact that people call her kid that all the fucking time. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Yeah. Like, if you want to be outraged and you want to be like, oh, you can't say that word, like, surely you've got to attack the reason that she's saying that word.
I don't... It really annoys me because you can't even use it in a subjective context.
Yeah, I had a big discussion with Neff about that when he was on the show, and we both just said, look, if we're talking about the word, we're allowed to say the word, because otherwise we're dancing around it. And
I fully believe that the only reason that it keeps being stigmatized is because people keep reacting to it so strongly when it's being used subjectively.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's being used in a derogatory context, then yeah, fine.
Absolutely, yeah, no, like, I'll be the first one
obviously.
I'll get offended with you if that's the case. But if you're talking about, like, the actual, like, this is if you think about it, this is an emotionally charged reaction to a mother who just, no matter what she tweets, she could tweet tomorrow, just gave 10 grand to charity, and I can fucking guarantee you within minutes someone will reply, like, your son is a black retard or something, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what happens anytime she does anything. So obviously, like, she's gonna feel the need to
it's not even limited to her. So I saw this is slightly out of the
Yeah.
context of the episode,
Okay.
but it's within the context of what we're talking about currently. Andy Johnson has tweeted saying that for every retweet that he gets, he'll pledge 10 pence to a mental health charity in support of Aaron Lennon, as he's been taken to hospital for whatever mental health problems.
Yeah.
Someone has replied to him saying, I respect what you're doing, but why not do a quid or 10 quid instead of 10p?
Fucking hell.
Like, people just have no sense of, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Like, just, dude, what?
Yeah. Like, you don't respect what he's doing, clearly. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not £1 million?
Yeah, it's just absolutely unreal.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, people get attacked on social media for absolutely nothing. And it's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just hate on the internet in general. It's just so easy and so, like, mass, like, it's just, I don't know, it's crazy.
It's like mass hysteria.
Yeah, kinda, but just even worse. I don't know. I'm gonna loop us back into the topic with
Go for it.
with the creepiest thing that I have ever read and seen, because you know you're gonna also experience this with me if you Google the thing that I tell you to Google at the time. So, Elisa Lam was a Canadian student who went traveling in January 2013 to Southern California. She blogged about it on Tumblr, traveling alone on Amtrak and intercity buses. She she saw some of the standard sites, such as like San Diego Zoo and whatever else people do in SoCal, which is what I call Southern California because I'm down with the kids. And
Yeah, that's cool. That'll catch on.
I think it will. You
Yeah.
always hear me referring to my homies in SoCal, right? Like that's what I.
Yeah.
that's-
Oh, homies, that's a good word.
Yeah, that's gonna catch on too. That's they. I was in the shower last night and I was thinking, if I was in the crowd at like an open mic night in comedy and I was in California and someone like pulled me up on stage real quick and was like, you gotta do a one-liner right now, I'd say something to the effect of potato chips must be really sharp in California because every time I tell people I'm coming here they tell me to watch out for the bloods and the crisps.
Oh, dear.
While she was in LA, she checked into the Cecil Hotel,
Yeah.
which is kind of a grimy looking low rent hotel, like from the outside anyway, which is all I was able to see when I googled it. But it's near Skid Row, which if you don't know what Skid Row is, check them out. They're an awesome band. No, just Google Skid Row, California, you'll see it. It's a sort of desolate.
Don't Google skid marks.
Why would you?
Throwing that out there.
It's a hotel with like a kind of a dark history. Like financially, it was swallowed up by the Great Depression. It was like from the looks of things, it looks like it would have done really well in the 1920s. Like it would have been a very, very high rent place. But then in the 30s and the Great Depression, like the entire market, like the entire street, the bottom fell out of it. So like it got killed off by the Great Depression. Elizabeth Short, which is a throwback to the Black Dahlia murder. We spoke about it in a previous episode. She was last seen at this hotel. There have also been other like high-profile rapes and murders, not to mention suicides at this particular venue. So, like by all accounts, it's a dark sort of place. But also by all accounts, Elisa Lam seems like a fairly normal student, right? Her Tumblr blog never really suggested anything untoward. She never made any ambiguous or ominous or like even questionable posts, I would say. She did previously blog about her troubles with a mental disorder, and at one point she said that dropping out of a few classes in her college class made her feel directionless and lost. But it was also clear from reading the post that she was specifically talking about like her academic prowess in that instance. Like her career was what she had in mind. Like she thought that it would look really bad on her CV going forward that she had dropped out of these classes. But what happened was she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. But she was taking prescription medication for it, and her parents said that like she didn't have any dark history or anything like that. So for people who hear the end of this and go, yeah, well, she was bipolar, like, stop that, because that's not, A, it's not a death sentence, B, it doesn't mean that a person is mentally insane, and C, she was on meds for it, and like they can do amazing things for disorders like that nowadays with the medication that they have. So she got assigned a shared room in the hotel, which I thought was really weird. Who shares a room with people? Like, is that just the thing they do in America?
Yeah, that's a bit weird. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. But she got moved into a room by herself because her roommates complained about what the hotel lawyers would call certain odd behavior. Now, in a hotel, this could be fucking anything. Like, she might have left the TV on while they slept, or she might have snored, or
that's so vague.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's definitely the hotel like protecting their brand, their reputation. So, like, who knows? The jury's out on that. So she kept in touch with her parents every day while she traveled, except for the day when she disappeared. After a week of no clues or evidence, the LAPD released CCTV footage from an elevator in the hotel, which showed her getting in, pressing several floors on the control panel. She stood in the lift and waited for the doors to close. They didn't close. So she looked out to the left and to the right. There's nobody there. The door still doesn't close. She stands in the doorway again, steps into the hall, goes back into the lift with her back against the wall this time. The door stays open. It looks at this point like she's hiding from someone or that she's afraid. She moves her right arm up to her head, presses a whole bunch of buttons on the door, or a whole bunch of buttons on the control panel. The door stays open the whole time. She starts rubbing her forearms together, and she stretches out her hands completely so that it looks like she's a contortionist. Like, it's the weirdest and creepiest movement I've ever seen a person do that wasn't a contortionist or, like, trying to freak me out in some way. Just Google Elisa Lam elevator footage right now.
Yeah.
And watch
Yeah,
it.
you could, like, I'm watching it right now, and it's...
Elisa Lam elevator.
Yeah.
She moves in the creepiest and strangest way that I have ever seen a person move. So
she looks like she's arguing with someone about something.
Right, yeah. She looks like she's like running away from something, or like it looks like she's definitely not the only person participating in whatever's happening there.
Yeah.
So they searched for her, like, you know, they never found anything about her. So a week later, guests in the hotel started making complaints about low water pressure in their rooms. The water was turning black. It smelled really bad. So on February 19th, one of the staff members of the hotel went up to a water tank which was pumped in from the water supply for the whole city. And it was to go into the guest rooms and the kitchen and coffee shop and stuff like that. And in one of the water tanks, they found Elisa Lam's body, which was like below the surface, and she had been there for probably around a week. They drained the tank so that they could cut it open and take her body out. The people in the hotel, like, that water that they were using was water with a decomposed body in it. So, like,
yeah,
that's pretty bad. The hotel paid for them to go to another hotel, but, like, at this point, I think...
Yeah,
it's... Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not
good.
One
of the things I was going to theorize when, or, you know, I would theorize when you were explaining the whole thing about her having bipolar and having medication and stuff like that, is that she might have stopped taking it. But it does actually say that during the autopsy they found traces of her prescription medication in her blood.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they could analyze of it.
Yeah, and
Which-
they also found like
Yeah.
ibuprofen, which is just not unusual. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I have ibuprofen in my body right now. It's not unusual for a person
Yeah.
to have that.
No.
So they said that her death was an accidental drowning, and they kind of pinned it on the fact that she was bipolar. But
Yeah.
the report like has been criticized for a lot of things. Like they did a rape and fingernail kit, but I don't think they actually ever even released like the results of that. Like her body was like decomposed and it was like fully green. But there was like I don't really want to say, but there was evidence on her body to suggest that she had been sexually assaulted. I think that that's fair to say. Like I don't know, because it never stated in the autopsy report if they even actually processed the rape and fingernail kits that they were supposed to have done. They don't really address the fact that there was blood in her in a you know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
It's a family show, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely not a family show at all. But
No.
yeah, so anyway, it actually manages to get weirder. Her Tumblr blog had been updated after she died. Now, yes, they do have an auto queue option, which lets you automatically,
Yeah.
but still, that's fucking weird.
I feel like that's just an unfortunate coincidence.
Yeah.
But the fact that her phone was never found,
Yeah.
and they just assumed it had been stolen sometime between the last queued post and I don't know, like the phone thing seems like could whoever have done it, or if there is someone that did it, could they have taken her phone off her and that's who she'd been talking to when she was in the lift? Like, who knows?
There's a thing
Maybe.
I spoke about on a previous episode called the elevator game. It's a Korean sort of cultural game that they play where it's like you get into a lift and you have to press a sequence of buttons like 1, 3, 2, 7, 5, and basically you got to stay in the lift the whole way and not let anyone else in, and if someone does get in, like, you can't trust them or whatever. And the idea is that when you eventually once the sequence is completed, you'll walk out of the lift and you'll be in another dimension, or like
That's interesting.
an alternate universe, like that kind of thing. And in order to get back, you have to go back to the same lift and do the same thing, but you may never make it back because who knows what kind of universe you're going to end up being in or whatever. And this is just like a thing that people speculate on in South Korea. Like, it's a sort of a scary, like, creepy thing that they tell each other or whatever.
Yeah.
But I had heard about that like quite recently, and the first thing I thought of was Elisa Lam and like the weirdness, like the way she's acting, the way it looks like she's being chased, and I drew a parallel with that. Obviously, I am a cynic and a rational thinker, and I believe it was probably in some way related to, I guess, like the way that she was acting with her, like her hands and stuff, just clearly implies some kind of mental health thing.
Yeah.
But I also just, I don't know, like for personal reasons, I just don't like boxing mental health problems in with everything that goes wrong with someone's like day, because you can just be like, oh yeah, well, she was bipolar, so it doesn't matter. Like, that's obviously why she's dead, is because of bipolar, but like, we don't know that. Like, you know, I had a migraine and I forgot where I lived. Imagine what, under certain like pressure, like the way your mind can change you, the way your body can act in strange ways and stuff. Like, we don't know. Like, she may very well have been chased by like an attempted date rapist or something. Like, you know, like there's it's not really fair to just say killed herself because bipolar. You know what I mean?
No, and travelling can be stressful, especially if you're doing it alone.
Yeah.
And if her phone had been stolen, that could be a pretty stressful event.
Yeah. And like
So-
she was at a bookstore, like the day before she went missing, I think, and the owner was like interviewed and said that she was an outgoing, really lively and really friendly person, and she was buying gifts
Yeah.
for her family. So like if you're suicidal, chances are you're not gonna be buying gifts to bring home to your family. Like,
I mean, like that's the thing. I mean, she was bipolar, and say she had a particularly strong reaction to whatever, and her medication wasn't strong enough to counteract it,
yeah, true.
or whatever. It's completely plausible. You know, bipolar is characterized by the extreme highs and the extreme lows. So it's conceivable that she could go from one to the other in a matter of hours.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely no way to discount that, but it's still creepy as fuck, you know.
Oh yeah, like the video freaks me out. The way that she just like starts extending her fingers and wringing her hands, and the way she gets into the lift in the first place, pressing the buttons, is weird.
I have to say, when she first gets in and presses the buttons, it's like the way she points her finger out. It's like she's unsure of how far out her finger can go. And
Yeah.
when I had that migraine, I was doing everything with that sort of element of care and almost caution for everything I did.
Yeah.
I had to go onto my work profile on my desktop and find out my address. And the only way I was able to do it was because I have a post-it on my computer with my credentials on it. So,
Yeah. Nice and safe, that. Nice, good security.
Yeah. Yeah, someone can log in. Like, one of my colleagues can log in and process all my payments for me. I would be... Anyway, yeah, and I was able to do it. And, like, I remember the way I was pointing at the post-it while I typed. And my face was, like, right up next to the computer so I could see through the blur. And, like, I would have looked like a right fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
You know, so like you just don't know what's going on in someone's head that makes them do certain things. But it is significant that in the autopsy they did not find any like recreational drugs or hardcore drugs or anything like that. Like it was all just like legitimate prescription medication that would be used for her condition.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but it is really unlikely for someone to take a bad turn while they're on medication.
Yeah. Unlikely, but not unheard of.
I suppose, yeah.
There's always the possibility.
Yeah, real life isn't
knows?
like Homeland where if you stop taking your bipolar meds you get really smart.
Oh, fucking Carrie. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
That woman.
You gotta love Claire
Jesus.
Danes though. She's a goddamn fucking American hero.
Yeah. But, good lord. Carrie. Fucking... So, the next scary mystery, etc., is one that's actually technically a resolved case.
Ah!
Technically.
What are you bringing this shit to my podcast
There
for?
are many, like 2 whole, very suspicious things about this case. This is about a guy called Joshua Maddox.
Oh god, it's already weird.
He was, that's a hell of a name. And it's not a girl or a woman that's gone missing or died. He was an easygoing, smart, funny, relatively decent student, 18 years old, and he was last seen on the 8th of May in 2008. He told his dad that he was going out for a walk, and he was reported missing shortly after when he never returned. In August of 2015, he went missing in 2008. In 2015, his remains were discovered. They were found in the chimney of an abandoned cabin 2 blocks from his dad's house. The cabin had been abandoned for over 10 years, but the owner claimed that he would check every now and then and never noticed a smell. Or he noticed the smell but figured it was just some dead rats. So, the body was found wearing only like a thin padded like gilet, or like a thermal vest, and his clothes were outside of the fireplace and inside of the cabin.
Whoa.
But the owner claimed that there was a large piece of furniture in front of the fireplace, and that's why he never checked the chimney for the smell of the rats. It was claimed that by the police that Joshua Maddox had tried to climb down the chimney to get into the cabin when he got trapped and died. Explain.
Yeah, well, I don't know what kind of chimneys people are able to climb down, but I've never seen one in my life.
You've never seen a chimney or one that people can climb down?
Either. A chimney that people can climb down. Like, do they have those in Ireland and the UK?
I'm assuming this is like it was a cabin, so I'm assuming it's like a large, wide open fireplace. But I don't think I've ever seen one where you could enter in from the top. But he was found in the fetal position as well. And you wouldn't really curl your knees up to your chest to get down a chimney. Very much kind of a straight arrow kind of deal, you'd imagine.
Well, and his clothes were... Where was...
His clothes were inside the cabin.
So, like,
He was naked apart from this thermal vest shirt thing that he was wearing.
Huh. There's a type of neurological response to hypothermia where your brain tries to communicate with your body that you're warm, and people who suffer from this, they rarely ever come back from it, but it causes them to take off all their clothes because they feel so warm. There's numerous cases of people, particularly hikers or explorers, that when they're trapped in a storm, like a snowstorm, they end up actually ripping their clothes off because their brain is communicating this immense heat inside. So maybe he had something like that and he crawled into the chimney to... I don't know, maybe he was already located in the chimney. I don't know. Maybe he somehow got holed up in this place and there was a snowstorm. I don't know. You're going to tell us what happened.
No one knows.
Oh, god damn.
The resolved part was that the police were just he just climbed in the chimney trying to get into the cabin and died.
Oh, shit. So it's not resolved at all?
Well, it's resolved according to the police.
Oh, god. Who pays those people?
Taxpayers, unfortunately. Shit, wait, fuck.
So...
Yeah, that one's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Because at no point do I think, or would I ever think, that climbing into a chimney is a good idea. But then again, at no point would I think stripping off is in public. No, wait. But yeah, I think that's just so odd.
Yeah.
And how can you not check? Surely, if you've got this cabin and it's abandoned for 10 years, surely something has to change within 10 years. You go up and check on it every now and then, but don't try to do anything about any of it. Or notice the clothes on the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a bit weird.
That is a bit weird. What would you be doing there at all, if not to...
If you're not going to be renovating it or something, do you just go in just to go, yep, still here? I don't know. It's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So there was a couch pressed up against where the chimney exits, is that right?
A large piece of furniture, it was described as, which is oddly vague.
Yeah, that is oddly vague. For fuck's sake, how can you not simplify that in one easy...
they can specify that he was wearing a thermal vest, but large piece of furniture.
Fucking hell. Yeah, geez, I don't know.
Who knows? But literally not me, so...
Yeah, that's a shame. I thought you were going to really come true there and help us out.
No, I really can't, I'm afraid.
So I will talk about two vague things. One of which is in all probability hysteria, but is interesting nonetheless, and one of which is a little bit fucked up. So the first thing is the Devil's Footprints, which was a phenomenon that occurred in February of 1855. Now I am skeptical of anything that goes back to pre-1900s. I think that's like my cutoff point. But around east and south Devon, there was really heavy snowfall in February 1855, and there was a trail of hoof-like marks that covered a huge distance that appeared overnight, and they covered anywhere between 40 and 100 miles. They're called the Devil's Footprints because they were hooved, allegedly with the appearance of a cloven hoof. But it's not just that they were, because you're thinking, right, an animal and it walked a long way. That is a long way for an animal to walk overnight, not unheard of. So some of the hoof prints went up walls and on rooftops.
Yeah. That's just what?
Pretty fucked up.
That's all of my what?
Yeah.
So, where did they start?
Somewhere in
East and South Devon.
Yeah.
They started.
The estuary?
Yeah.
Like they covered rivers and like haystacks and other obstacles, like just straight up over the top, like it was nothing.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
That is so bizarre. I like that one of my favourite... I'm looking at the examples of what could have caused it. And my favourite one is hopping mice.
Yeah. Hopping mice have been known to travel 100 miles overnight.
Small rodents do enjoy travelling 140 miles
with their cloven hooves.
A couple of hours. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's...
That's so bizarre.
It is. So there's one theory that says it could have been a kangaroo.
A kangaroo in
East
1850s Devon.
Yeah.
Yes, pal. All right then.
I think it was mass hysteria. I think like someone noticed one fucking weird thing.
Yeah.
Someone else noticed another. They decided to just go.
I feel like I feel like this falls greatly into the category of like you hear about, or I've heard about, like back in they must still do it. They probably still do several similar things today, but when the older like Oxford and Cambridge University or their kind of fraternities prank the entire town or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just like one organised group of people.
Oh, it could very well be, yeah.
Like, it would be fairly simple to do.
Yeah.
If everyone wears the same shoes, and then you get however 140 of you, you'll walk stand a mile apart and walk, and you've got a 140-mile track. Like, I don't know.
It's like a Simpsons episode.
Yeah, I feel like it would be massive. It'd take a lot to coordinate.
Yeah.
But I could see it being done.
Yeah, I think so too.
Solved it. Fuck it. Bang.
Yeah.
Done.
So the next one is the Overtoun Bridge in Scotland. Now, I don't know if it's pronounced Overtoun or Overtoun. It's Overtoun. I would pronounce that as Overtoun.
OUN.
OUN, yeah.
I've heard about this bridge actually.
Yeah, it's famous for one specific thing. Just for clarity, this is a Category B listed structure. So
I thought you were going to say this is a Category B listed mystery.
No, but it's so funny. Like the Wikipedia page, Overtoun Bridge is a Category B listed structure, and then Category B listed is blue. So you can click it and find out other. I fucking love Wikipedia. It was completed in 1890. Look, I'm not going to get into this, right? It's a bridge in Scotland. It looks fine. It's actually got a pretty nice design on the side of it, I will say. Since the 1950s, numerous dogs have leapt from the bridge at a rate of about one per year. It's a 50-foot tall parapet on the side, and it goes down to a waterfall. And the only linking factors are that the dogs jump from one side of the bridge, and always in clear weather, and they're always dogs with long snouts. So you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, well, it's just something that attracts dogs down there. So somebody, I think, concluded that it was that the dogs had the scent of mice and mink. So they decided to jump to try and get it. But no, it's actually been proven since then that there's no mink around there. So nobody really knows. Like, they thought they had solved it, and then it went straight back into the but also a guy in 1994 threw his 2-week-old son off the bridge because he believed he was the incarnation of devil.
Yeah, I was going to say, the bridge is famous, and they were just like, oh yeah, all of these dogs jumped off. Oh, and there was a bloke who threw his 2-week-old son off because he thought he was the devil.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, it's a footnote almost.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, but the dogs committing suicide thing is weird, because at a rate of one per year, you're talking like 50 or 60 dogs that have jumped off this fucking thing.
I feel like it says that the scent you say about the scent of mice and mink. I feel like there must be, like, whether I don't know whether, like, it came the scent comes downstream on the water with the
maybe,
like, to the rocks, but I just don't. I mean, obviously the whole long snout thing suggests that there's definitely something smell factored in there.
I wonder that it's not that, like, the long snout, maybe dogs with the longer snout have a different type of peripheral vision, and when they look over the bridge, they just aren't capable of telling that it's a big drop. And, like, I know that would just lead to the question, why don't dogs jump off all bridges? But, like, if you look at this bridge, it does specifically have a parapet on the side, and it could just be that the trees surrounding it, with the stream and stuff, I don't know, like, maybe they just see something different that implies that it's safe to jump off. You're just going to be on the ground underneath or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do know that dogs don't perceive height very well. They're not great perceivers of height. That's why the main problem in training parachute regiment dogs is not getting them to actually jump out of the plane, because they look down and they're just like, okay, but it's like the sounds and the wind that bothers them more.
Wow.
Dogs don't have a great sense of height, so that's a good possibility that it was just, like, misjudged. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like, is it just also some sort of, like, bias, like it's more likely to get reported because it's this bridge?
Yeah, I like, so I've read, I'm on the Wikipedia page now, right, but the only reason that I'm here is because I read about this a few years ago on a different website, and one thing I'm not really seeing is cases of dogs jumping off it. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's documented that plenty of dogs have done it and stuff, but, like, the main source is the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
So...
I feel like, it's bizarre. And the Mirror has run with a wonderful headline: mystery as 600 dogs jump from haunted suicide bridge, leaving at least 50 dead. Now, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that the 600 dogs jumped at the same time and left 50 humans dead. Like some sort of a horrible dog-shaped avalanche from the skies. Like, that headline is so poorly worded.
It is terrible. That'd be really funny.
but I expect nothing more from the mirror. So
yeah, that's very true. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, the real mystery here is, what are we all doing with our lives? Now,
I mean, whoever's listening to this is listening to us talk about a doggy suicide bridge. So
why did you have to say
valid
doggy?
question.
Why did you have to make it extra sad?
It is sad.
It's a doggy suicide bridge. It's where they go to. They throw their little dog noose off it, and
Oh, I've not painted a picture of them with opposable thumbs tying the rope. Christ alive.
Yeah, it's sad. It is sad.
It is sad.
I
won't say any more about it.
Do you have another? Do you have one left to take us home?
I have. This one is a story from a Redditor, and it is their recounting of an incident in which they believe they had a close call with becoming a murder victim.
Oh shit! Is there an audio recording of it?
No.
Oh goddamn!
But there will be after I read it.
Okay. Yeah, go. Actually, Reddit is a really good source for shit like this. I think we should go down that avenue more, maybe.
Yeah. I 100% don't care if half of them are fake, because some of them are very well written.
Do you know what my favourite thing about Reddit is? Is the subreddit Child Free, and seeing like these absolutely outrageous, irrational, angry people who hate children. And they'll put like a fucking essay,
Right, an entire essay
about why can't I see Finding Nemo 2 in a child-free screening? It's like, dude, for crying out loud. You can't look. I have never been in a cinema where you can hear a child screaming over the fucking. Like maybe if a child is outwardly crying and screaming, like, yeah, fair enough. Then it is on the parent to take the kid out, right? But I saw Rogue One in Singapore, and Singaporean cinemas, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but they're not very loud. They, for whatever reason, Singapore people don't like their cinemas to be loud. And there was a kid screaming, and the parent took the kid out to the aisle and like rocked the kid. So that there was probably like two and a half minutes of crying, and like all you have to do is just listen to the movie. Like it's only annoying when you let it be annoying or whatever. I don't know. I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, I hate parents because kids are loud. Kids are loud. Fucking deal with it. Don't go see Finding Nemo if you don't like children. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I totally stole your thunder there, and yeah. Continue.
I can't even remember where I was. What was I saying?
You hadn't started the thing yet. That's all I know.
Ah, good. April 1993. I was a senior in high school. I travelled to San Diego alone to spend spring break with a friend who was living out there.
Spring break, show us your boobs. Woo!
Spring break, woo! I flew from Detroit Metro Airport, and it was the first time I'd ever flown. The trip was successful, and so was the return flight. Which kind of, the return flight part ruins whether he got murdered.
Yeah.
Let's move beyond.
The fact that he's writing it doesn't.
It ruins the mystery straight away. This should be written in the third person.
It should be, yeah.
When I arrived back in Detroit, my parents had said they'd be waiting for me by the gate. This is pre 9/11, of course. I don't know why that's relevant, but when I disembarked, they were not there, and being an impatient 17-year-old, I decided not to wait for them and to go get my luggage. As I was walking down the concourse, this extremely handsome man, who was probably in his mid-20s, approached me. He said he was having trouble using the ATM machine. They were still pretty new at the time.
Who says ATM machine?
I have no idea, but this, I've read it and didn't even question it.
Automated teller machine.
Yeah.
WTF fuck is that about?
R.I.P. in pieces, this person.
Yeah. Anyway, continue ASAP as possible.
Yes, he wanted to know if they'd accompany him to the concourse to help him with his ATM machine card. Confused about why he was asking for help from a teenage girl when there were all of these adults around, she told him that she'd never used an ATM machine, and he gave her some line about how she looked intelligent and that she'd be able to figure it out. She looked around and didn't notice an ATM in the area and asked him where it was, pointing in the general direction and told me, "We can see it from here, but it's just down the concourse and not too far away." Just then I saw a security guard, and I told the man it was a security guard and they'd be better equipped to help him than I would be. He turned white, and once he saw the security guard, quickly turned on his heel and started running away, apologising that he was sorry for bothering me.
Fuck.
I'll never forget how I felt during the conversation. All of my instincts immediately screamed, "Run." 3 days later, a young girl was murdered just outside the airport. That's fun. That's a nice, fun story to end on.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
Oh, I don't like that.
No, that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that makes me feel really uncomfortable.
As a teenage girl, that makes me feel very uncomfortable.
As a beautiful 18-year-old teenage girl with long blonde hair, I can...
I'm a beautiful, leggy blonde, 18, female, London.
So,
pick me up.
Let me just write this down. ATM card not working. That's a good one. I've been trying some other stuff.
ATM machine card, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is really, really fucking weird. I've always, like, you know, Debbie Harry from Blondie, she was hitchhiking one time. Actually, I think this story turned out to be fake, but apparently, who was the serial killer guy who killed all the Ted Bundy? Apparently, like, Ted Bundy pulled over to help her or something, and she was like, "Oh no, it's okay. I have another. I don't know, whatever." But I think I read on Snopes recently that that's actually not true. But either way, imagine being a close call like that.
Oh man, that would be so bizarre.
Yeah, it would make you feel so weird. Like, I feel weird just thinking about it now. Imagine what it would be like to actually be her.
I feel like I genuinely would be so just like not aware of fact and just completely it would just wash past me. I wouldn't even notice until about 6 years later when I'm already dead.
Yeah. Then you get to find out because you go to heaven and God would tell you, because you get to find out all that stuff after you die.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like when I was a kid. It's just reminded me of whenever I was looking for something, I'd always imagine my life as like a cheesy 90s TV show where as soon as I stopped looking for what I was looking for, the camera, I'd like walk away and the camera would zoom in on wherever it was. And it was like right under my nose the entire time.
You know what? We have that episode planned from like a year ago when we planned episodes about like different sayings and quotes.
Yeah.
There's one that I really love, and it's when you're looking for something and it's always in the last place you look. Like, it's so clever.
I think we've discussed this before.
Have we? Maybe.
I think we've discussed this saying before because it annoys me so much.
I absolutely love it because, like, it's true on two levels. Like, that's my favorite thing about it is it's always, you're always like, oh, I'll just check the fucking washing machine because maybe I did leave my phone in there. And then you're like, oh, it's there. That's the last place I would have checked. It's always in the last place you check. But it's also, logically, always in the last place you check because you found it in that place. So there's nowhere else to check. It's genius. It's the best phrase I've ever heard.
It is genius. What really annoys me, though, is when you're looking for someone or something, and instead of the person that is nearby helping you, they go, always in the last place you look.
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely annoying.
Cheers, pal. Thanks for the help.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that one.
Yeah, that's like someone saying, I knew you could do it. Like, yeah, that's... Thanks.
Or telling you when you're calm, saying calm down.
Yeah.
It's like, I am. I was mildly annoyed, but you've just made me more annoyed.
Yeah. There's another...
telling me to calm down.
Whenever people tell me they're hungover, I always say, that's from drinking out of a wet glass. Because it's true.
That is very true. Water is wet.
Yeah. All liquids are.
That's a fact.
Yeah. They're all liquidy. Are we done here?
I think we are,
I
yeah.
don't think there's anything else left to discuss.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, thanks for listening. I hope it was sufficiently terrifying. Hope you enjoyed
Indeed.
this nostalgic walk back on a previous topic, which is also what we did last time you were on. We need to come up with
Yeah.
some fucking original topics.
Yeah. This feels like a situation that we've got going at work. We make a daily video for like various sports website. We make a video every day, and we've been doing it since last June. And do you know how difficult it is to make a different video every day for about nearly a year on the Premier League? I've run out of video topics.
You are talking to a career mode YouTuber who used to upload daily videos talking.
We can't make series videos. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Every video is different, and it's killing me.
Why don't you talk about how all of the my friend Eugene tweeted this the other day, and I favorited it, and I'm going to read it out to the podcast before we properly end. And by the way, somebody suggested, right, that me and you should do an episode with another podcast, Weird With You, where we discuss, like, we kind of analyze a movie that we all watch.
Sure.
I think that would be pretty cool. Only one person has asked so far, so if all of you who've made it to this point, I think there's 2 of you in total, leave a comment and say if that's a thing you'd like to hear, because we don't really get a lot of comments, and it's really hard to judge what... If I want to do, like, weird things in the podcast that I don't usually do, it's hard for me to know if they're the right thing to do when there's not a lot of comments. Anyway, Eugene tweeted, "All the terrible things that have happened over the last few years have been balanced out by Man United becoming shite."
I think I saw that, and I actually really enjoyed that tweet.
I'm going to retweet it right now.
Because it is quite a fact.
It is. Like, I was watching the Man United Swansea game, and I was like, it's just so funny that they're just not going to win. Like, they were 1-0 up, and I was like, nah, they're not going to win. It's... To all the people who are about to leave a dislike, just remember that I've had some variant of this discussion with all the different teams over the years. So yeah. I don't care about Man United especially. I don't care about Liverpool, and I don't care about Chelsea. I like when lots of people are made unhappy because their sports team loses. That's what I care about. So that,
yeah. There is nothing better to care about.
Exactly. Nothing else matters.
The misery of other people.
Yeah, misery of other people. That's what we do it for. I want to see people mad enough that they could go and punch a horse. That's just what it is. That's where we're at in society.
That is so true.
So yeah, let's leave it there. That's what I say to women after every sexual encounter. Yeah, we'll leave it there.
Good talk. See you out there.
Yeah, see you in the world. That was good. That was very smooth.
It's fun.
Yeah.
When the sun goes down.